Welcome to Film Riot. Today we're answering your questions. Before we do that, just so you know, coming up in a few days, we're headed out to LA to shoot our next short film, which we're going to be in production on Friday. I leave on Wednesday, so make sure you're following us on Twitter and Instagram. You can find all that in the notes below. I also announced the title of this short film, and I posted the title page of the script. So if you want to see that, check it out on my Twitter and Instagram. But now, let's get into your questions. First question, would you consider having internships at your Texas office? Keep kicking ass, guys. Viva la Film Riot Army. Yes, absolutely. That is something that we really want to do. Something that we've always wanted to do is to pull from our Film Riot community to help us out with things and to help people reach their goals as well, since you all have always helped us reach our goals just by being a part and supporting what we do. And we have been doing that. Whenever we look for crew or VFX artists, whatever it is, we're always pulling from the community first before we go out looking other places. But yes, absolutely. That is something we want to do. It's just not something we're set up for just yet. From watching Film Riot for years now, I know writing and planning before shooting is essential, but on almost all of your shorts, including Sentinel, you explain in the making of how you shot with little to no script. Is it because of lack of time or more of your framework that helps your creativity on set? It entirely depends on the project, and I'm in a place now that if it's a certain type of project where it's a little bit easier for me now because I've done them a lot, I like to find ways to really challenge myself. So with Sentinel, I decided not to really write a script, not to plan anything at all, to just show up on the set and see what I could piece together on the day. And the reason that I did that is because I want to make features, and those are very, very stressful, very, very fast moving, which I know from, the mentors that I have that have told me things. So in preparation for that sort of thing, I want to condition my brain to be able to think very, very quickly on the fly and under a lot of stress and still be able to get a good end result. So for me, it was another way of creatively working out, like I'm always talking about. But we have a much bigger project coming up, the one we're about to shoot on Friday. And for that one, I'm doing a lot of prep. The script went through something like 17 drafts, I think. I'm definitely doing a shot list, tons of conversations with my DP, stunt coordinator, and everyone else to really make sure we're going to nail it, because there's a lot more people involved, there's a lot more money involved, and there's a lot more time involved. So with those, I'm not just winging it. But when it's a $300 thing with a lot less stress and more of a safety net of, hey, if it doesn't come out great, we'll just reshoot it, then I like to really push myself beyond any comfort zone I have to hopefully, again, creatively work out. So when it does get to the point to where I am working with a big crew like I'm about to do, I can very easily think on the fly and switch things up and still have a solid end result. Let's say that you've produced something for a client, small business, commercial, weekly show, etc., but now they're refusing to pay you. How would you go about resolving the issue? Hopefully there's a contract involved. And if there's a contract involved, then that's everything. Then you just threaten a lawyer and then get paid. If there isn't a contract involved, hopefully there's some kind of paper trail, maybe some emails where things were agreed on, and you could use that in the exact same way. If none of the above exists, honestly, I'm not 100% sure. If it is a large sum of money, I think I would get some legal advice, maybe get something like that involved. You can always threaten lawyer. You can always say my attorney that, doesn't cost you anything, and hopefully that resolves it. This has happened to me many times. Sometimes I was able to resolve it. Sometimes I was not, but it's, hindsight is 20/20. If you don't have a contract, and this doesn't work out for you, let this be a really sucky lesson of always have a contract. I mean, somewhat recently, I did something with this live thing, and there was no contract. I trusted the person, and the things that said were going to be done were not done. So it happens to us all. It still happens to me. I'm too trusting. I always think people will have integrity, and then I'm like, why didn't I get a contract? Poor college student here. What has been your favorite non-conventional tool you use? In other words, a household item that with a little creative film magic becomes something amazing that you still use quite often. Shower curtain all day long. That shower curtain is just the greatest thing ever. You can shoot through it for some more creative shots. You can use it to diffuse, and it's just as good as $100 diffusion. Also, a bathroom fixture, which we showed how to make that, a little light bar, and can lights, which I use all the time. We talk about all the time. We show all the time, and you can get those at Home Depot. What do you think is the most important thing to keep in mind while working with visual effects? In my experience, every time I try them, they look too fake or just not work at all. Good visual effects are really, really difficult. There's so much much that go into them. I mean, I don't really consider myself a visual effects artist. I can get by with basic things, but when it comes to stuff like Sentinel, I really need to get my hands off of it and get some collaborators that are really good at that thing. And, before I was able to have friends that would collaborate with me on things of that level, I never would have written something like Sentinel or done something like Sentinel because I didn't really write anything. But you can do it different ways. Just don't show it. How can you do it and not show it, or show a reflection of? You can almost get it there, but when you look right at it, it looks terrible. Well, don't look right at it. Maybe look through a reflection. The guy sees it in a rearview mirror, or he sees it in the reflection of a window behind him, which is even more obscure. There's certain things that you can do to get around it. The idea is to give your audience the best experience possible, and if you're not able to get the VFX to that level, don't do them in your project. Do the ones that you can get to that level and write around those things, and then keep those ideas to the day that you can do them. I mean, that's exactly what I've done. We just did Sentinel, something like Sentinel, with that heavy of visual effects, with dead-on close-ups in the bright daylight for the first time, because it was the first time I really had a bunch of people that I confidently knew we would be able to pull this off. So write the things that you want to write that you can do right now, and the ones that you can't do yet, well, just put them in a box, hold on to them to the day that you can do them, because that will come if you keep pushing, and then pull them right back out and do them properly. And last question, what do you do when you really want honest, helpful critique of your work? Love my family and friends, but they're also biased. Well, something I did with my recent script was when I passed it to people, the first thing that I would say is, I don't have time for nice. I don't have time for kindness. I need brutal honesty. So tell me what you like about it first. Of course, that's great, but then be brutally honest. You're not going to hurt my feelings. You really have to create the environment where they feel okay to say that. Maybe bash things that you know are a problem up front to get that going. Sometimes people hear you saying they want the feedback, but they don't really believe you, because that is the majority of people. Even people that ask me for a critique, when I give it to them, they get offended and then come back defending it. Don't defend it. Just take their critique, go look at the scene, see what might be the problem. Because a lot of times, one thing that I found was with, I would say, 70% of the people that give me feedback, it's not the things that they say is the problem. That's the actual problem. There's a problem with the scene, but they're not able to pinpoint it. So they pinpoint the one thing that kind of bugged them, but it might not have been that. The only reason that's bugging them because something else was off. And you really have to go back and look at it and try to dissect that. If your family and friends aren't doing it, see if you can collaborate with some people online. Hey, I'd love to send you my stuff. Would you be able to critique it? When it comes to something like a script, it's a little more difficult. People are a lot more cautious with that. I don't read scripts from people because it can cause legal issues, but you look outside of your family and friends if you can. Some kind of film club, something of that nature. And of course, look outside of your friends and family if you can. If you got a little cash to spend, you could always send your script to a reading service. I'd be really cautious which one you pick. I believe Final Draft used to do one like 10 years ago, and it was pretty helpful. I haven't done one in something like 10 or 12 years, so I'm not 100% sure on that avenue, but that is something that you could look into as well. It's a complete stranger giving you their thoughts on your script. Domain.com has all your website needs, including .com and .net domain name extensions and intuitive website builders. Take the first steps in creating your identity online. Domain.com's reliable, affordable, and have tools that you need to build a new website. Start sharing your ideas with the world on a professional website. No domain extensions are going to help you tell your story like a .com and .net domain name. And if you want to brand yourself online, Domain.com has over 300 domain name extensions to fit your needs, from .club to .space. And of course, they love you. So to show that love, they're giving you 15% off your domain names, web hosting, and email. Just use the coupon code FilmRiot at Domain.com's checkout. And when you think domain names, think Domain.com.
Logo.
So that's it for today, which means it's time to talk about what I'm watching. And I've been watching a lot of special features lately, including the ones from American Made with Tom Cruise and Doug Liman directing, which was great. Not Tom Cruise and Doug Liman directing. Tom Cruise is in it. Doug Liman directed it. You get what I'm saying. Blade Runner 2049, which is just an amazing film, but has really solid special features as well. And Dunkirk and It, both with really great special features along with those as well. But also Blade Runner, the original, is up on iTunes to buy, of course, but they have a new commentary. I don't know if it's new, but I'd never noticed it before, with Ridley Scott, which is really great. So definitely check that out. And until next time, don't forget to write, shoot, edit, repeat.